What you see here is the map of Santa Rosa. Santa Rosa had its first film made in 1942 with Alfred Hitchcock. Many films are made here, and we're going to look at a few of them today. I'm standing in front of the famous Shadow of a Doubt house on McDonald Avenue in Santa Rosa. Alfred Hitchcock filmed here in 1942, and the movie came out in 1943. 1943 was a pretty eventful year for movies in Santa Rosa. There were like 1, 2, 3 movies that came out that year. Alfred Hitchcock often said that this was his favorite film. Many of the film's extras were locals of the town, which was too far away from Hollywood to be affected by the Actors Guild guidelines demanding the use of professional actors. Shadow of a Doubt was the script title, but was listed as only a temporary title until a better title could be found. Now I'm standing at the corner of 14th and McDonald in Santa Rosa. This is the famous corner with one house on each corner. Well, not that corner. 3 out of 4 houses on this corner were in the movie. That's pretty good odds. Anyway, as you can see behind me, it's the Shadow of a Doubt house. Across the street's the Scream house. Across the street's the All My Sons house. And also across the street is where Alfred Hitchcock would sit at night and drink cocktails with Judge Geary, keeping an eye on his set. Well, it's pretty famous. Behind me is the garage from All My Sons. And it looks like this is the street the car drove up and down. I'm sure it's the street the car drove up and down in Shadow of a Doubt. One of the families in the movie, Shadow of a Doubt, entertains the charming Uncle Charlie, played by Joseph Cotten, suddenly arrived from the East. Alfred Hitchcock had wanted Joan Fontaine for the role of young Charlie, but she was unavailable. Hitchcock wanted William Powell to play Uncle Charlie, but MGM refused to lend the actor for the film, so the role went to Joseph Cotten. In a 1959 interview, Teresa Wright said that this was her favorite film. Shadow of a Doubt was a box office failure when it was released in 1943. The box office rank was 81 for the year. Hitchcock puts a lot of personal elements in this film. For example, Alfred Hitchcock's middle name is Joseph. Joseph Cotten played Uncle Charlie. Young Charlie drives the family car. Alfred Hitchcock's wife, Alma Revelle, loved driving. There are several vampire references throughout the film, including telepathic communication between young Charlie and Uncle Charlie. Uncle Charlie is also killed on the train returning to the East, much like how Dracula dies returning to the East. Alfred Hitchcock mentioned the idea of, you destroy the thing you love through Oscar Wilde. Young Charlie loved Uncle Charlie, but she ended up destroying him in the end of the film. Alfred Hitchcock discussed the use of the number 2 in this film. There are 2 Charlies, Uncle Charlie and young Charlie. There are 2 scenes at the railway station, the arrival of Uncle Charlie and the leaving of Uncle Charlie. I'm standing outside 825 McDonald Avenue. This was the house that was used in All My Sons. It was the Grace home for a long time. It's a beautiful house on McDonald Avenue in Santa Rosa.
It's just like it used to be. Nothing's changed a bit.
It's only been 3 years, you know.
Now I'm standing outside of the house that was in the movie All My Sons with Edward G. Robinson and Burt Lancaster. They stood right out here on this porch. The porch has been changed since the movie was made. But then they would walk across the lawn and go to the house next door where their neighbors lived. And then they would come back. But this is where the movie was made, right here on McDonald Avenue in Santa Rosa.
Annie!
Joe!
Annie!
Hello, Joe.
Annie! Yeah, let me look at you. Annie, you're beautiful. A dish if I ever saw one. Here, give us a kiss. They're still falling for me. How do you like that? You're a regular dog. Yeah, let me help you. Come on in, Annie. Welcome home. You're a sight to stare at.
It's kind of difficult to tell from here, but this is right between the two houses where the people walked back and forth from the houses in All My Sons. It's grown up a lot since then. The original Broadway production of All My Sons won the 1947 Tony Award for the Best Play for Arthur Miller. His original script was used for the basis for the screenplay for the movie version. In 1948, All My Sons was turned into a film. Edward G. Robinson played Joe Keller. Burt Lancaster played Chris Keller. All My Sons also stars Arlene Francis. It's such a coincidence that she's in this movie now that the Arlene Francis Center is in Santa Rosa. Now I'm standing on the side street. Actually, it's 14th Street. This is the garage for the All My Sons house. Of course, it's a new garage. I'm sure they're not going to keep the same old garage. But it's interesting because I think right around this corner is where the car drove by, and then when he takes off, he goes that way. I'm standing in front of the garage in the house for the Shadow of a Doubt house. Of course, it's a different garage because it was made in 1943, but I don't think I ever got this shot before, so I just wanted to show you guys. Scream is a 1996 American slasher film, based partly on the real-life case of the Gainesville Ripper. Tatum's home is situated on McDonald Avenue in Santa Rosa, next to the houses used in Shadow of a Doubt. Movie scouts discovered Sonoma County and Santa Rosa, Healdsburg, and nearby Tomales Bays. Scream was called Clever, Quick, and Bloody Funny. As you can see, across the street from me is the Scream house and the balcony. This is on the side street on 14th Street. Scream received several awards in 1996, including Saturn Award Best Actress for Campbell, Best Writing for Kevin Williamson, and Best Horror Film, plus nominations for Best Director for Wes Craven and Best Supporting Actor for both Ulrich and Barrymore. Right now I'm standing in front of 824 McDonald Avenue. This was the house that was used in Scream. I never saw Scream, so I wouldn't know, but apparently it was. And it was also the Geary house where Alfred Hitchcock would sit with the judge after the filming at the day's end of Shadow of a Doubt and drink cocktails with the judge on the wraparound porch while they were filming Shadow of a Doubt across the street. But Scream was filmed in 1996. Shadow of a Doubt was filmed in 1942, so it's quite a bit of difference. This house is right across the street from the house that was filmed in All My Sons, which I just filmed, 824 McDonald Avenue, and across the street from 815 McDonald Avenue, which was used in the remake of Shadow of a Doubt and All My Sons. So this is like a really famous corner on McDonald Avenue. This is a television remake of the Hitchcock film Shadow of a Doubt. There's an adage in television, if it ain't broke, fix it. Alfred Hitchcock's suspenseful 1943 movie Shadow of a Doubt certainly ain't broke. Now I am up closer to the 815 McDonald Avenue. This was the house that was used in the remake of Shadow of a Doubt, and it was the neighbor's house in All My Sons, written by Arthur Miller, who was married to Marilyn Monroe. Hollywood has long been stricken with raging remake-itis. The original with Joseph Cotton and Teresa Wright is so much better. Hitchcock said that one of his personal favorites was Shadow of a Doubt.
Good morning. Ann, Dr. Valence. Jim, this is ARLENE.
Howdy do.
Howdy do. She looks very intelligent.
What can I take for it? Chris likes you. He writes about you in his letters.
I can think of better things to write about to a pretty girl. What's the matter with you, Chris?
Jim, come in here. Mrs. Adams is on the phone.
I
I told you I don't want to be disturbed. Sunday is my day off.
What do you mean you...
No calls on Sunday.
Hello. Hello.
You must be Anne.
And you must be Mrs. Bayless.
Guilty, but don't hold it against me. It was his bedside manner. Well, go on in and talk to her. She says she's in great pain.
She gives me a great pain. What's the matter with her now?
What do you think's the matter, huh? She wants you to go over and hold her hand, beautiful. So go.
Such are the conditions which prevail. Never marry a nurse, Chris.
Oh, I better go in and see he doesn't bust that call. See you.
There was a contract in the original Shadow of a Doubt that nobody could ever remake this movie with the same house.
You've seen Mark Harmon playing Uncle Charlie, another charming killer. Fans of Hitchcock movies may remember Joseph Cotton playing the same role 40 years ago. Our Dorothy Lucy talked to Mark Harmon about stepping into such a hallowed role.
Emma! Stop right there.
Standing there, you don't look like Emma Newton.
You look exactly like Emma Spencer of 46 Burnham Street. The prettiest girl on the block.
Imagine you thinking of 46 Burnham Street from so long ago.
I keep remembering those things, all the old things.
We must never forget the old things.
In this case, the old thing is the story. The Shadow of a Doubt was made 40 years ago. Today's version was shot in Santa Rosa, across the street from where Hitchcock shot the original.
All right.
Charlie!
Mark Harmon grabbed at the chance to play Uncle Charlie, even though a day on the set could be murder.
I gave up a long time ago thinking that a bad guy has to have a 3-day growth of beard and a second-grade education. You know, in an actor's sense, an opportunity to play a schizophrenic, sociopathic, psychotic serial killer. The line forms to the left of actors wanting to do that, you know?
Harmon got his lines from the original handwritten Thornton Wilder script. He even had some of Hitchcock's original notes.
It was a little bit like having some of the answers to the test. People want to hear from me on this set, you know. I said, no, see, that's not what they meant by this scene at all. They meant this, you know, and I did that a lot. I did that a lot.
And once Harmon had a close encounter with Hitchcock.
I hit a golf ball once on a golf course, and I sliced it like I normally do, and it bounced off this house, and I went looking for my golf ball, and Alfred Hitchcock was standing in his backyard with my ball. And he said, "Did you lose this?" or whatever he said. And I said, "Oh, yes, sir." And he threw it back.
Hitchcock and Harmon have something else in common. Their favorite Hitchcock movie is the original Shadow of a Doubt. Dorothy Lucy, Channel 2 Action News.
Standing in front of the McDonald house, this is the house Alfred Hitchcock noticed when he was roaming around Santa Rosa, and he thought it would be the perfect house to depict where the family of young Charlie would live. Thornton Wilder thought the house looked like it would have been in a higher income bracket than a bank clerk, which was young Charlie's father's position at the time. When they looked into it, they had realized that the house was owned by a physician. But Alfred Hitchcock wanted to dispel reality, and he chose the house, and they used it in the movie. As you can see, it still looks fairly similar to the way it did in the movie. 68 years ago, in 1942, that's where they filmed this movie. Today, the house looks in perfect condition, and it's been very well kept up. This is the house where Shadow of a Doubt filmed the Newton family home, 904 McDonald Avenue. They are unaware that he is a fugitive serial killer of rich widows. Hitchcock spent much of his time getting to know the locals, and Santa Rosa comes across as a real place, even down to the use of its rightful name, and the attractive, turn-of-the-century white house on the tree-shaded McDonald Avenue still exists today. Although Hitchcock would have liked to have shot the entire film on location, wartime conditions required most of the interiors to be filmed at Universal Studios. Hitchcock didn't have to change a thing except to put a coat of oil on the Victorian at 904 McDonald Avenue he had chosen to be the family home. The owner, Dr. Clifford Carlson, had been so pleased when his house was selected, he'd spruced it up with a new coat of white paint between the Hitchcock visit and the arrival of the actors. It looked too new, Hitchcock said, and he ordered it oiled.
Here in a different angle, the McDonald house, you see the famous porch now, where they go in and out, and there a lot of stuff happens. And the day is a day like almost a black and white day, with the clouds in the background. Hopefully you see it behind the house. And this tree on the left looks to me as about 78 years old. He could have been around back in the day.
Shadow of a Doubt was a lot of firsts. It was the English director's first truly American film. It was the first movie of many made in Santa Rosa, and it was the first time in decades a major studio had gone on location. The story Hitchcock wanted to tell was about what happens when an evil force invades an idyllic small town populated by average American families. To write the film, he hired the acknowledged expert on small-town Americana, Pulitzer Prize-winning playwright and novelist Thornton Wilder, whose Our Town was a Broadway success in a recent movie. Had there been no war, Hitchcock may well have built his small-town idol on a Hollywood sound set and given it a generic name, like Grover's Corners. When it was time for Uncle Charlie to move on, he took the same train he rode in on. There is no longer a passenger train to Santa Rosa. Now I'm standing in front of the famous Mapleton. This is a beautiful home on McDonald Avenue. This home was in the movie Pollyanna, which was made in 1960 with Haley Mills. Pollyanna was filmed in Santa Rosa, California, with the Mapleton Mansion at 1015 McDonald Avenue in Santa Rosa serving as the exterior and grounds of Aunt Polly's house. Other California locations include Napa Valley and Petaluma. Interiors were filmed at the Walt Disney Studios in Burbank, California. Haley Mills won the 1960 Academy Juvenile Award for her performance and also received a BAFTA nomination for Best Actress. We come now to the shining jewel in the crown of McDonald Avenue, 1015 McDonald Avenue, also known as Mapleton. This house was built in 1877 by Mark McDonald. This is one of Santa Rosa's outstanding Victorians. It was built by T.J. Ludwig for Colonel Mark McDonald, the developer of the McDonald Addition, as a summer home. This is a replica of a plantation house overlooking the Mississippi River. It is a large, elaborately decorated stick-style residence with a southern influence. The mansion is surrounded by extensive grounds with a carriage house. The building was nearly lost by fire during the restoration done by Jack and Judy Lessering. This elaborate mansion is the dominant building in the McDonald Avenue neighborhood, and because of its quality and original design features, it is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. The meaning and relevance of this movie's title, The Fighting Sullivans, is that they were 5 Irish-American brothers who died about the same time while serving during World War II. I'm standing on Morgan Street in Santa Rosa. Now, this street is representative of the street that was in The Fighting Sullivans. I can't find the exact house that was in the movie, but this house is the most representative that I could find. Because of the freeway, the house that was in the movie could have been torn down, but I'm not exactly sure. But this is my most best guess.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This too for good measure.
Oh, thank you.
The Iowa family scenes were shot on location in Santa Rosa, California, which had stood in for a typical American town in 2 other recent films, Alfred Hitchcock's Shadow of a Doubt and The Happy Land. The Fighting Sullivans was made with the cooperation of both the Navy and the Sullivan family. According to an article in the New York Times, locals could only get jobs as extras on the film if they volunteered for at least 3 days of helping harvest crops in the area's farmlands. The film was a sweet slice of Americana. It chronicled the brothers' childhoods, their close-knit family, their mischief, loyalty to each other, romances, and their decision after Pearl Harbor to join up together. In spite of its finale, The Fighting Sullivans is not a war film. The brothers' military service occupies just a few minutes near the end of the film. It is a story of typical Americans with love of home and love of family at its core. This is a story of why the Sullivans fought, not how.
I'll not have you spilling tobacco juice over the porch rail.
What do you want me to do, swallow it?
Fine impression Miss Ruth will get of the Sullivan family.
She better find out what we're like just from the start. Anyhow, I thought you didn't like...
That's enough out of you.
This is her now.
That's Mom.
As a direct result of the 5 Sullivan brothers' fatalities, the United States War Department developed and initiated the sole survivor policy. It is a myth that following the 5 Sullivan brothers' deaths, the U.S. government enacted the Sullivan Act, an act made to prevent siblings serving together on the same boat.
Joe, get out of your father's chair. Awfully warm, isn't it? Yes.
Based on a true story about 5 brothers from Waterloo, Iowa, The Fighting Sullivans resonated with a war-weary nation, a reminder of the homespun values for which American troops were fighting.
He's late.
Reviews for The Fighting Sullivans were respectful, befitting its tragic and patriotic subject matter. It was a deeply touching story because of the personal sacrifice it represents. The film earned an Academy Award nomination for Best Original Motion Picture Story. I'm standing in front of the tracks that the kids ran down in The Fighting Sullivans. These are also the tracks that the train came on Shadow of a Doubt. I'm facing the other direction now, going towards the train station. You see the train come in The Fighting Sullivans and in Shadow of a Doubt. Alfred Hitchcock said the dense black smoke belching from the train that brings Uncle Charlie to Santa Rosa was a deliberate symbol of imminent evil. I'm standing in front of the train station that Alfred Hitchcock filmed Shadow of a Doubt. He filmed the arrival of Uncle Charlie and also the departure of Uncle Charlie. This is where Uncle Charlie died.
Here you see a clip of contemporary Santa Rosa railroad station. That's where a major part of the movie took place. Here we go back to 1942 with young Charlie looking west. And on the right you'll see the locomotive coming in, excellent. Then here is west again, that's how it looks today, practically abandoned. Tracks are still there, a little overgrown. And we're still waiting for the trains to arrive. Back to the movie again, still picture from the Santa Rosa railroad station. Uncle Charlie must have just arrived here in front of Hotel La Rose. In the back here would be the freeway. Here is Santa Rosa again, railroad station, from exactly same location. Here, 42, 68 years ago, exactly same spot. It's a great transaction, I have to admit. Now here, railroad station again, waiting for the trains to arrive, not coming yet. And we go back to the original right here. Here comes the train. And here comes evil Uncle Charlie under a lot of black smoke. Here we go. Here is again the contemporary Santa Rosa today. And Uncle Charlie. Grabbing for the cell phone. Ah, the cigar. This particular shot is one of the last shots in the movie when the train picks up Uncle Charlie when he leaves Santa Rosa. So to this day, it pretty much looks the same as it looked 68 years ago. Tracks are unused and waiting for the next train to come. Thank you. Here's Santa Rosa train station, looking north, beautiful blue sky, waiting for the train. We'll just arrive, and there he is. Goodbye, Uncle Charlie. I'll see you soon. Here I come again. This is another shot right from the unchanged railroad station here. It looks pretty, beautiful. It's became a museum now. Back to Santa Rosa train station today, contemporary Santa Rosa. And here, a couple of still pictures and cuts from the movie. Enjoy. Here is a shot of contemporary Santa Rosa in front of a Hotel La Rose behind the railroad station parking lot. And we should go back to the olden days in a second before there's a freeway. Here we go. Same shot. And we go right in behind the railroad station. And here they come out of the car. And that would be the freeway right to the left there, but he's not there yet, 1942. And here's the railroad station again today.
Hi, we're inside the train station at Santa Rosa, California. It has now been turned into a visitor center. Today we're interviewing Ruth, who works here, and she has a very interesting anecdote to tell us. So I'll let it turn over to Ruth.
Oh, thank you. Well, when I was in junior college back in 1964, I had the privilege of having a very kind, witty school counselor teacher whose name was Gene Canaveri, and he told us that he was the baggage boy that you see as the train is arriving in Santa Rosa with Uncle Charlie on his evil mission.
Here comes the train and the smoke, and Uncle Charlie is in it, and we're waiting for a hopefully close-up of the baggage boy. We were just talking about, I see him already over there on the left. Comes the train. We're waiting for Uncle Charlie to come out. There's the baggage boy right there. Here comes Uncle Charlie out of that train. He's a little hurting. There comes young Charlie. And Uncle Charlie. And train's leaving. And Uncle Charlie and young Charlie meet each other. Probably for the first time. Right, backdrop Santa Rosa. Parking lot behind the railroad station. Look at the car. Take a look at the cars. 1942. And the baggage boy. One more time. Gene Canaveri.
Cheaper by the Dozen is a 2003 American family comedy film about a family with 12 children. The film takes its title from the biography of the same name. Both Steve Martin and Bonnie Hunt, playing the parents of 12 children, have 0 children between them in real life. I'm standing in front of Santa Rosa High School. This is a very famous site. These steps are the steps Peggy Sue came down when she came out of the high school when she went back in time. Also, other shows have been filmed here. This is very famous. When Peggy Sue's friends take her home after she faints at the blood drive, the car radio plays Tequila. The radio station is KFRC San Francisco, which altered its live programming for the movie. I'm standing on the top steps of the steps at Santa Rosa High School. This is a different angle. When Nicolas Cage drives his car in, this is the parking lot he comes in, and Peggy Sue sees him, and Peggy Sue got married. This was made in 1986, Santa Rosa High School. Other films were made here too. It was really a famous location. Nicolas Cage based his character's voice on Pokey of the Gumby Show. Francis Ford Coppola and the producers hated the voice, and Cage was nearly fired. But Cage managed to convince Coppola that he was making a good choice.
It's not going to be forever. I figured 3 years is long enough for the music to pan out, which it will. I know it. And, okay, so right after graduation, we should, 1, start to see other people, so that we can, 2, we can comparison shop, and then 3, settle down and get married.
Why wait? Why not break up now?
Because we got the prom coming up, and all these parties. We don't want to upset our parents.
They'll learn to live with it.
Peggy Sue Got Married is a 1986 American comedy-drama film directed by Francis Ford Coppola and starring Kathleen Turner as a woman on the verge of a divorce who finds herself transported back to the days of her senior year in high school. I'm standing in front of Chops. This is where Lena's used to be. The film was nominated for 3 Academy Awards: Best Actress Turner, Best Cinematography, and Best Costume Design. This was the location shot in Peggy Sue Got Married when she came to Lena's. Unfortunately, Lena's has been razed and Chops has been put in its place. The fame of co-stars like Nicolas Cage, Jim Carrey, Helen Hunt, Joan Allen, Catherine Hicks, and Sofia Coppola rose considerably in the years after this film. Penny Marshall was hired to direct but was fired 3 weeks into pre-production by the producers, who felt that the film had gotten too big for a first-time director. I'm standing in Santa Rosa Junior College's parking lot above Bailey Field. This was the field used in Happy Land in 1943. Unfortunately, we cannot find a copy of that film anywhere. I only have stills, but this looks like where it was filmed, and doesn't look like it's changed at all. Happy Land was released during the height of World War II. It is considered a Why We Fight in a beautifully gentle, heartfelt film. Living and breathing in its scenes are home, family, and freedom. Happy Land was shot on location in Santa Rosa, California, with additional scenes being filmed in nearby Healdsburg. Some scenes were shot in Sebastopol. According to modern sources, 5-year-old Natalie Wood, who was a resident of Santa Rosa, appears in a bit part in the picture. This was Natalie Wood's first time in front of a camera. She was a little girl whose ice cream cone fell in a very brief scene. I'm standing in front of the main library in Santa Rosa. This was the site of the Carnegie Free Library that was torn down. It was built in 1903. Although set in New England, the Columbia Pictures release was filmed on location in Santa Rosa, California. A couple of movies were filmed here. Shadow of a Doubt and Storm Center.
There's only one person who should have this honor. Alicia Hunt.
In the Press-Democrat, the headline read, Santa Rosa Library to burn for movie. The city had dispatched 3 fire trucks and 12 firemen to serve as extras in the mock blaze. The town's residents had been warned well in advance not to mistake a movie fire for a real one and rushed to their telephones in a mass panic. The extras in the crowd scene were paid $3. Storm Center is a story about a small-town librarian who is branded as a communist by local politicians when she refuses to withdraw a controversial book from the library shelves. The civic disaster of when the library burns brings the community to its senses. The city fathers rehire the librarian they so shamefully disgraced, and she resolves to rebuild the library. Betty Davis was quite convincing as the principled librarian.
Die Harder. Bruce Willis. Die Hard 2. What's this about? Towers lost control.
That's the airport right there.
I don't like the fly.
There's the airplane. Behind me is the old airfield. You can hardly see anything now. You can see the old hangar. And this is the first spot I came to, so I might try to go by the houses or go by the strip if I can find it. But this is one shot of it. And the movies that were filmed here is Die Harder, Die Hard 2 with Bruce Willis.
Somebody out there. It's the plane.
One was called Stop or My Mom Will Shoot with Sylvester Stallone.
It's gonna be so clean and shiny.
Sylvester Stallone considers this the worst film he's ever done. This is Bruce Willis's least favorite film of the Die Hard series. You're never going to believe this, but I found part of the old runway. I can't believe this. It's just sitting here in the middle of nowhere. And there's like an industrial park all around it, and the houses are over there. It's a little breezy out here. I guess that's why it was an airport. At any rate, it was Die Harder, Die Hard 2, made in 1990 with Bruce Willis. This was supposed to replicate the airport in Washington, D.C. And Stop or My Mom Will Shoot, made in 1992 with Sylvester Stallone. Anyway, as you can see, it's deserted now except for this industrial park and the houses that were built right on the runway, which is unbelievable. I can't believe it. I never knew this was here. Die Hard 2, sometimes referred to as Die Hard 2 Die Harder, is a 1990 American action film and the second in the Die Hard film series. The Spanish title for Die Hard in all three of the movies is The Glass Jungle, as a reference to the first movie located in a glass skyscraper. Hi, I'm on the back side of the Finley now. This is where the old airfield used to be. It's pretty much all fenced off with barbed wire and you can't get in. But this is a clear shot from here. You can't really see anything from here, so I'm going to just try to show you what I can see. Stop or My Mom Will Shoot is the story of a tough detective's mother who comes to visit him and begins to meddle in his life and career. I don't know if you can see in the background, but this looks like the entrance to the old runway. There's not much you can see here because there's nothing here, but at least I found it, and that's all I wanted to show you. When Estelle Getty found out that filming the movie would involve guns, she said that she would only do the movie if there were no guns in it. The producers lied to her and told her that there would be no guns in the movie in order to get her to sign on. Despite his status as a major action star, Sylvester Stallone has made a number of attempts to remodel himself as a comic actor. One of his more infamous efforts in this direction was Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. Stallone referred to it as maybe one of the worst films in the entire solar system, including alien productions we've never seen, and that a flatworm could write a better script. Both Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert aggressively disliked the film and both gave it a thumbs down in their on-screen review of the film, with Ebert claiming it to have been one of the worst movies he'd ever seen. It is also the winner of 3 Golden Raspberry Awards for Stallone as Worst Actor, Getty as Worst Supporting Actress, and the film earning Worst Screenplay. I'm standing in front of the Flamingo Hotel in Santa Rosa. This was in the movie Bandits. The storyline is loosely based on real-life bank robbers Terry Lee Conner and Joseph Daugherty. Many elements of their heist are accurately depicted in this film, including the breaking into the home of a bank manager, which was filmed in 2001 and starred Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis stars as a suave bank robber Joe, who has escaped from prison with his hypochondriac buddy Terry, Billy Bob Thornton. Together, the two men have devised a clever scheme to take a bank officer hostage the night before a heist, then simply escort the executive to work early the next morning. The story may not warrant its lengthy running time, but the cast of Bandits makes it an enjoyable ride.